So, a few days ago, Ubisoft announced on their Ubisoft support account, they didn't post this on their main account, definitely trying to keep it as quiet as possible, that they are deactivating support on some of their, quote, older titles on September 1st of this year. So, extremely little lead time. We're talking, this is 2 months away. In 2 months, a lot of support, content, functions of these games are going to cease to exist. As a person who's big on video game preservation, I always pay attention to this stuff and just, what a cancer it is on the gaming space, how much confusion it causes. And when I saw this game list, I noticed we were talking about some big games here. Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, Ghost Recon, Rayman. I was like, wow, and not to mention, it's not like we're just pulling support for online play. We're talking DLC too. You can see on some of these games listed, they say, quote, additionally, the installation and access to downloadable content DLC will be unavailable. This is something, there's a few issues I have here that I feel like are kind of going under the radar, kind of getting misrepresented, maybe even misreported. This isn't a situation where it's like, oh, you're not able to just buy this DLC anymore. No, this is an instance where they are completely ending even access to the DLC. So to be clear, no, this is not just about stopping you from buying these DLCs anymore, spending money effectively in these games. This is fully cutting off access entirely. If you bought DLCs to these games, maybe you're a big Assassin's Creed guy, I'm sure there's a lot of those people out there. Well, the money you spent on those DLCs is gone. Okay, you have no DLC, your money's gone, sorry, no refunds. Yeah, just completely awful. I can't believe how short of a lead time people are getting on this. Again, like 2 months. But that's not even the worst part of it to me. And again, this is something I feel like a lot of people who are talking about this aren't focusing on enough. Why I think this is extra egregious, completely disgusting, as it seems like some people thought was the instance here. We typically see when these companies pull support for these games, especially when we're talking about content people pay for, whether it is DLC you bought through online or even full digital games, these companies often wait as long as they can to announce like they're fully killing support. But typically you get a good amount of advance notice that they're going to first stop the purchases of these online contents, and then, down the line, they just fully pull support. I still don't like it, but yeah, at least most of the time, they stop you from blowing your money on this stuff long before they fully kill off support. Not the case here. Not with Ubisoft. Oh no, they'll take your money for this shit, I guess up until the last minute? I mean, in one of these titles, they're talking about the full game. This Space Junkies is going to be completely shut down, and since it's multiplayer only, the entire game is just worthless. I guess it cost like $40 when it came out. It sucks to be you if you paid that for this. The game only released in 2019. Yeah, that's one of these, quote, older titles, a game from 2019. But again, the thing that's most insane to me is you can still buy it right now. I just checked, this game is completely active on Steam. I could buy it right now. A game that they are going to completely pull support for will be 100% useless to you in 2 months. Again, I just feel like not a lot of people are honing in on this fact, and this is why I feel like this is just so extremely scummy. I mean, at the very least, these store pages should be updated, like, warning, this game is about to be shut down in 2 months. Now, think about that before you buy it. Nope. I mean, your average person who's just combing through games and maybe this caught their eye would have no clue going off of the store page that this game was legit on the brink of being shut down. Now, if you go to the reviews of the game, you'll find people giving the warning about the shutdown, thankfully. But that's not the players, the community's job. That's Ubisoft's job. I mean, they're the ones pulling support. And in fact, the store owners too. Like, I feel like Valve should be stepping in here and not letting users get swindled by this. And the same goes for the just DLC stuff. Look at all these fun missions in that you can get. Better get them now and play them now, because that's going to be completely gone in a couple months. once more to reiterate, full access cut off to all this stuff. No more buying it and no more downloading it. And it's like, yeah, I know it's obviously not a lot of people are accessing this stuff right now. That's why they feel like it's okay to just shut it down in the first place. But you know there are people still playing these games, still playing these DLCs. There's someone out there who the Da Vinci disappearance is one of their favorite missions, and they always play through it whenever they go back to the game. And now you can't anymore. At least if you try to access it by playing the original versions. And I know for a lot of this stuff, there are collections or HD upgrades, complete editions that have been released since these games. There are always people defending even the worst practices in this industry. So I know they'll be coming out like, oh, well, just buy the Ezio collection or whatever. Like, what if I don't fucking want to, asshole? I already bought the game, bought all this DLC piecemeal when it originally came out, probably paid way more than people who bought the Ezio collection. I supported it when it was new. And what do you get? What's your reward for that? They tell you to take a fucking hike. Oh, you just buy it again. Just buy the Ezio collection, and then when they pull support for that, buy the Super Assassin's Creed Ultimate Deluxe Complete Edition. And so on and so on. That seems okay to you? I mean, what if these companies were just a tad less anti-consumer and made this stuff clear at the outset? What if when you went to buy DLCs or these multiplayer-only games on day one, they had a message like, hey, we're only planning to support downloads for X amount of years, then you'll likely lose access. I mean, these days they already have all their terms and conditions that they make you click through anyway that has their protections that allows them to do this crap buried in it. Why not be clear and upfront about it, especially for those of you who say this stuff isn't that big of a deal? If it's not that big of a deal, why not have a big message that pops up, say, hey, in 10 years, maybe even less, you're never going to be able to play this again. Why not just put that in there if nobody cares? Oh, because it would be a big deal. Because putting that in front of people's faces before they make the purchase may actually affect a lot of purchases. That's why you don't do it. That's why you're sneaky about it. That's why you post it to only your Ubisoft support account. With replies limited, of course. And yeah, how long really is Ubisoft gonna let this go on? Like I said, I can go buy pretty much all this stuff, I think, right now. Bunch of DLCs, a full game that are all gonna be completely gone in a couple months. Again, no warning, no nothing to the people who aren't paying attention to the Ubisoft support Twitter. I mean, I really want to know, how long are they gonna leave this crap up for? Like the day before? Are there going to be people on August 31st potentially buying this stuff? Again, someone will. There will be one guy who buys Space Junkies the day before and log on September 1st to find out it's completely useless. You know, that's a thing I try to say a lot too. Like, the amount of people who are actually dialed in to all this gaming news and that, compared to how many total people play games, is actually a very small percent. Because people will also act like giving these little press releases, a small tweet on their smallest account makes this all okay. Like, oh, well, everybody's notified. Aren't you following Ubisoft support and checking the Twitter feed every day? Yeah, so yeah, this whole thing, like, it's so bad. Can you tell I'm getting worked up? And again, these games, this stuff really isn't that old. Even if Ubisoft wants to pretend it is. Games from 2010, 2014, like I said, the Space Junkies, 2019, for God's sake. This is something else I've pointed out in various other videos about this. These practices are ramping up. Like, these companies are pushing more and more to see what they can get away with. Today, a game from 2019 is an older game. I mean, sooner we're going to be talking about, like, oh, that game came out 6 months ago. You thought we were going to still be supporting it? That's an old game. And this is something I hope, especially a lot of you younger people, I want you to be made aware of what is happening around you as you dump money into all this digital shit. Again, maybe you didn't spend money on any of this stuff, but surely other DLCs, online games and stuff. Like, I hope you're ready for it to be all taken away at a moment's notice. Definitely less than a couple years after release is possible. And again, it's something that's ramping up. I mean, even going to the DLC stuff, if they're cutting off support for DLC in games that are less than 10 years old, How crazy is it to think that soon it'll be 4 or 5 years and you can expect DLC access to get shut off for games, especially Ubisoft, with the way the value of their games falls off a cliff pretty much instantly these days. I can kind of see the marketing perspective of this, like, hey, you know, you better buy Far Cry and all the DLC now when it releases, because we're going to just take it all away 2 years later. The game's going to be gone. I mean, I guess that's a way to get people to buy your games before they have like a complete edition on sale for $20 like 2 years after release. But yeah, this stuff, it's just bad. And moral of the story is it's getting worse. It is only getting worse. These companies are just, they're pushing it. They're going to keep pushing it. And I don't know. I don't know where it ends. But nowhere good. Anyway, I'm going to cut myself off here as I'm already starting to sweat in here. Yeah, with that, this video's a wrap. Let me know your thoughts on Ubisoft pulling support for these games and DLCs in the comments. What do you think about pulling support for this stuff in general? What do you think about the lead time, giving people like a 2-month notice? And especially, what do you think about them still selling all this stuff, knowing they're going to pull the support for it in just that short time? As always, I'm the Shy Guy, Johnny Zakari, and thanks for watching.